What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Neeks Sports. I know it's been a little while. It's been a little while, since I've been live on this channel. Of course, I've still been around on the Football Terrace, and I guess a lot more these days on Don Robbie's channel. Of course, it's called the Don Robbie channel. I think it is Don Robbie, isn't it? Doing my thing, obviously, watch-alongs, Manchester United, etc., etc. But today we're slightly different. We're talking about West Indies cricket, cricket in general, but West Indies cricket and the current, I guess, plight of West Indies cricket, where we're at, where we kind of go from here, really and truly. And I guess to answer the question simply, it's a long road, but we're gonna, look over the 2020 World Cup that we just had, of course. And then we're going to look forward towards the test series that we have coming up against Sri Lanka. Now, I asked a question after the World Cup just gone. Of course, first and foremost, you have to say congratulations to Australia for winning the World 2020, the 2020 World Cup, their first ever 2020 World Cup. And I like Pakistan. I do. Other than West Indies, when it comes to cricket, Pakistan's usually my second team to go to. Once West Indies are out, I say, okay, cool, Pakistan. But I wasn't too disappointed when they got knocked out. And I would like them to go to the final and then potentially New Zealand win it. But when they got knocked out, what it meant was West Indies will be still the only team to win 2 World T20 trophies. Of course, first we won it in 2012 in Sri Lanka, against Sri Lanka in the final. And then we won it in 2016 against England in the final in India. Of course, Carlos Brathwaite, remember the name, hitting those 4 sixes in the final over. And those are massive, massive moments. So that's where we're going to start. The question I ask is, well, the statement I make is West Indies cricket left behind. So left behind what, I guess, is the question. Make sure you like the video whilst you're here. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Big up Niall Kane in the chat. It says, big up yourself. Enjoy seeing you on Don Robbie. Yeah, I've been on there a lot. In the studio, I'm actually still unbeaten, as bad as Man United have been. I'm not there every week. That's why I guess that's why we lose sometimes, I guess. And then when I was in front of the big crowd, we bottled it. Big crowd. We lost 5-0 to Liverpool. But save that for another stream. I'm going to do another stream on Friday. There's no Friday Premier League game, is there? Premier League come back on Saturday. So I'm going to do a Friday preview. So not really a match preview, but more talking about where Manchester United go forward with Ollie. But that's for another day. We're talking about West Indies right now. Big up Dinesh. This is the stream for you. It's the evening, Neeks and everyone. Dinesh Kira, India #1 in cricket. Maybe India might be #1 somewhere in your mind, but it wasn't in the T20. They got knocked out of the group stage just like West Indies did. And taking it back to West Indies, as I mentioned, 2012 champions, doing the Gangnam Style celebration. It was iconic at the time. And yes, they are #1 in tests. But they lost the World Championship, didn't they, to New Zealand? Anyway. I do like India as well, don't get me wrong. But yeah, we did doing the Gangnam Style celebration as Marlon Samuels and Narayan and Badri came to the party in that final. And then 4 years later, Marlon Samuels came to the party again, along with Carlos Brathwaite, to take it home. And, those two sides are iconic for West Indies cricket. We've got the early West Indies, 70s, 80s, who they won 2 World Cups in a row and got to a 3rd final. They have I think the longest unbeaten run. It was about 15 years unbeaten in Test cricket through the 70s into the 80s, or the late 70s right through the 80s, with the likes of Viv Richards, Clive Lloyd, etc., Michael Holding, the famous fast bowlers that we've got, that we had, should I say. And then we've gone through this lull, downturn, whatever you want to call it, where on all forms, whether it's ODI, so one day internationals, Test cricket, we are just been getting worse and worse and worse through the late 90s into the 2000s. And there's a few like little spurts of glory. You think, all right, this might be the moment. You know, we go and we win the Champions Trophy in England over here with the likes of Ian Bradshaw and Courtney Brown in 2004. Obviously, Lara's captain. You say, okay, maybe something can come of that. And nothing does come of it. You know, then we beat England for the first time in about 30 years at home. This was what, 2008? Was it 2009? 1 to 2. 2008-9. When we beat them 1-0. When Jerome Taylor skittled them out for 51 or so in Jamaica, and we win that series. And you think, okay, maybe this is the time. And then we win the T20 World Cup in 2012. And you think, okay, this is the time. And in 2016, we bring all the old guard come back with amid all the disputes that we're having at board level and with the players, and we win it. And we're like, okay, what can we do from here? And every time those spurts of glory and those little green shoots of recovery come through, we go back to the drawing board. And it feels like we're back to the drawing board once again. 2019 World Cup, one of the most disappointing, probably the most disappointing World Cup display we've ever had. We won 2 games, the first and the last game, both all in the group stages, didn't make it any further. And then we've gone to the T20 World Cup as the defending champions. Gale, Russell, DJ Bravo, Pollard, Rampal gets called back. We go all the big hitters, Lendl Simmons. And I was embarrassed. To put it bluntly, I was embarrassed. It was embarrassing. And nothing really more than that is the judgment of how we played. We started, I mean, we had some warm-up games before, and I didn't actually watch them. I guess it wouldn't make it any less embarrassing, but I guess it should have prepared me for what was to come. It didn't fill me with glory. We played the first warm-up game against Pakistan, lost that by 7 wickets. I think Pakistan had about nearly 5 overs to go, chasing down 130. Then we played Afghanistan, allowed them to get 189 for 5, and lost that by 56 runs. And I knew from there, I said, yeah, this is going to be a lot. If we get out of this group, we have done a great job. And we were put into the group of death. It couldn't have a harder start playing the world #1 ranked team in the first game. But you think it's England. You get yourself pumped up and ready to play England. We got bowled out for 55. We got bowled out for 55, which was the lowest score of any team in the Super 12s. And let me tell you some of the teams that were in the Super 12s. There was Namibia. There was Scotland. There was Bangladesh, who finished below us. There was Afghanistan. And we got the lowest score of the entire Super 12s. One person got into double figures, which was Chris Gale. One person. And you're looking at it like, not only have we lost the first game, which of course we did. England won by 6 wickets with nearly 12 overs to spare. Not only are we behind the 8 ball, we lost 3 in a row, including the warm-up games. Now our net run rate's taken an absolute pounding. So now we have to go through the rest of the tournament unbeaten. Because if we lose another game, we're against 8 ball at that point. Because who are you going to beat by the same margin that you got battered by? We play South Africa next, and you're like, South Africa's a good team, but they're not a great team. They're not a great team. They're a good team. They've got some very good bowlers, but their batting ain't that strong. We get 143 for 8 and lose that with well over and over to spare. And at that point, you're like, well, tournament's done. I'm doing all the maths, trying to work out how permutations to get out of this group, because as the defending champions, to get knocked out of the group is bad. Or to not defend your title is not good. But to get knocked out of the group stage is even worse. But the manner we did it even trumped just getting knocked out of the group stage. We outdone ourselves, and we always do. When we win, there's two ways we win. Either trying to snatch defeat from the draws of victory, and somehow we get over the line. Those are two ways our games go. We're going, everything's going on swimmingly, and then we try and snatch defeat from the jaws of victory, but somehow we get over the line, or we just get embarrassed. That's us. That is us. Go through some of this chat. Make sure you hit the like button. Sammy says, woeful Windies. Literally, that's what they should call themselves. Woeful Windies. Dinesh says, who is West Indies' greatest fast bowler of all time? My vote goes to Malcolm Marshall, and he's the greatest of all time in cricket history. Yeah, Malcolm Marshall, greatest bowler of all time from any team, let alone just West Indies. Greatest cricket of all time, that would have to be Sir Garfield Sobers. Big up my guy Rafael Omazusi in the chat. United chat on Friday. We're going to do obviously like a bit, not a preview of the match per se, but a talk about Ollie, Manchester United, as we come out on the international break, which is the final international break of 2021 before the next one in March. So it's a straight club football, Premier League, Champions League, etc. So we have to talk about where the land lies with Manchester United and of course Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But today we're talking cricket. We've got a series against Sri Lanka coming up, and of course we just came out of the 2020 World Cup. So to continue, so we lost our first two games. In the end, there was a chance we had against South Africa, but when all is said and done, it was 8 wickets, 10 balls to spare. They were just biding their time. Then we go into these must-win games. We've got 3 games in a row. Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Australia. We have to win all 3 and hope, one, the other results go our way, which ultimately, it doesn't really matter. And I would say ultimately they did. We will never know because we had to then win by a big enough margin to actually supersede the run rates of the other nations, having lost our first 2 games in the manner that we did. We just about got over the line against Bangladesh. 142 for 7 we made, and we bowled. Well, we restricted them to 139 for 5. I mean, when we got the 142, I said, well, it's defendable. It wasn't we should have been making 170 on that pitch, 165 minimum. And we just about got over the line of 142, which made a competitive total. Ross and Chase came into that game after everyone was like, what is Lendl Simmons doing? And Lendl Simmons, I'm not going to say he cost us the game against South Africa, but he damn sure didn't help, because the way we would be bowled throughout the tournament, I don't know if he would have defended 170 anyway. But 140 odd, which we got against Africa, was never going to be defendable. And a lot of that was to do with how slow Lendl Simmons batted. But Ross and Chase came in to that game. He made 30. I mean, it wasn't at express pace, but 39 of 46. Nicholas Pooran made 40 of 22. And Jason Holder was also called up for that game as Cal Mayers went. Actually, was he called up for that game? Or was he in? I know he was definitely obviously played that game. I'm trying to think. No, yeah, he wasn't in the South Africa game, was he? The South Africa game, yeah, he didn't play. So that was his first game, and he made a quick fire 15 off 5 to get us to a total that in the end was defendable, and we just about did it. So it didn't fill me with any great glory, It didn't fill me with anything. Say, oh yeah, now we're gonna go and march through the tournament. But it was a lifeline that we barely deserved. Then we played Sri Lanka. Must-win game for us. Sri Lanka at that point was already out of the tournament, even if they beat us because of that was actually their last game of the tournament. So yeah, whatever happened, they couldn't go through. But to allow them to get 189 for free, we're just taking 3 wickets. Like our batting was bad. Our bowling was inept. It lacked any fire. It lacked any bite. It lacked any mystery. It was just up and down bowling, easy to play. There was nothing about it. In previous T20 World Cups, we've had, as I said, we had Narayan as the mystery spinner. We had Badri, Suleiman Ben opening the bowling with their fast spin bowling. Of course, Dwayne Bravo's still there. And, Dwayne Bravo bowled well in the tournament. He's still obviously not going to be the same guy that he always was. And, of course, he retired at the end of the tournament. But he still put up a decent fight. Ravi Rampal. How we call out the man's about 39 years old. Now, it's either a bad decision by the selectors to call Ravi Rampal up, or you have to ask, have we fallen behind? Where are the players who are supposed to be taking over from the generation that just won 2 World Cups in 4 years? If we're having to rely on 39-year-old Ravi Rampal and 41-year-old Chris Gale, Russell, who's on his knees because he ain't got no knees. We have fallen behind. And Sri Lanka, they dealt with us accordingly. Yeah, 189, and Hetmeyer gave us a bit of hope at one point that possibly could pull a rabbit out of the hat. 46 from Pooran, 81 from Hetmeyer. Those two who are the futures of West Indies cricket. The next highest score was extras with 11. Nobody else got double figures. It's embarrassing. We've got to call it what it is. It's absolutely embarrassing for defending champions. And then we played Australia in the last game. Our fate was already sealed. 157 for 7 we made in that game. And Australia chased that down with nearly 4 overs to spare. Pollard with a 44, Hetmeyer with 27, and Lewis 29. I mean, when you look at the tournament, I have to ask, which one was more embarrassing? This 2020 tournament or the World Cup? And most people said this one because we came in as champions. And the players that we had, the likes of Lewis, Poor, and those players can fire, especially in the shorter format of the game. But maybe it was just the length of the tournament, or the fact that I was actually going to pretty much every game. That one hurt me. That one hurt me. Maybe it started off with so much optimism in the 2019 World Cup and just got worse. And then, with the little shoots where we thought, maybe, Carlos Brathwaite nearly got us over the line. So our African game was washed out. There's a lot of and ahhing, but ultimately, over the 50 overs in a game or 100 overs in a game, our deficiencies just came to the fore time and time again. Even the selection for this World Cup, we got O'Shane Thomas on the bench, on whatever they call it, the reserves, not even the reserve squad, in the squad itself. Holder was in the reserve squad. And you're like, what's O'Shane Thomas going to do? Fast and foolish. Come up, bowl it, spray it, fast. We need a little touch on it. It's gone to the boundary. Yeah, I mean, where did we go from here? That was a golden generation of T20 cricketers. They done stuff that no other T20 cricketers have done. 2 world champions. 6 hitting like has never been seen. And I'm looking at it and I'm saying, who are the next? who is going to come up next? Why did we have to call up those same players 5 years later? Now, of course, there's a few. There's the likes of Brandon King. We know we got Hetmeyer. We know we got Poran. Bowling is a big issue when it comes, especially spin bowling. It's a big issue. Hayden Walsh was in the squad, didn't do great. Akeal Hossain did very well. I like Akeal Hossain, I do. But we need some kind of mystery. We had Narayan, and who are we turning to now? Who are we turning to now? And of course, the question marks about the captain. Holder was replaced as limited over captain after the 2019 World Cup. And now there's talk about whether or not Pollard should be replaced as the white ball captain. Maybe. I think the ex-West Indies president, Dave Cameron, mentioned that Hetmeyer should be the white ball captain. I disagree. Hetmeyer needs to focus on his batting. He's got a bit of a hot head, but he is so talented. He needs to focus on his batting, especially when Poran's already the vice captain. Why would you go above Poran for someone who's done less, or I would not shown less potential, but I trust more, and Poran is trusted more by West Indies, especially in the limited over format, than someone like Hetmeyer. Hetmeyer plays T20, ODIs, and Test cricket, or at least he should be. Poran hasn't even played Test cricket yet. Let Hetmeyer focus on his game, and we're going to see an absolutely special player. If we're giving the captaincy now, it's going to be way too much. We've killed so many talented West Indies careers throughout the decades. These two, Poran and Hetmeyer, are the future of West Indies batting. It's just sad to see where we've fallen. It really is. Sammy says, Neeks, remember when I told you Simmons having a career T20 strike of 120 is a disgrace? The eye test says he's destructive, but his numbers say otherwise. The eye test does say he's destructive. I do like Lendl Simmons. Maybe T20 is not really his game. Maybe it's not, and that's not a terrible thing. It is what it is. Maybe ODI cricket is probably more his game, where yes, you have to go big, but you also have the ability to construct an innings. And he is a stroke maker. He can hit some sixes, but he's a stroke maker more so than a Gale or a Russell or a Pollard or even a Lewis, who are predominantly big hitters. Like someone like a Hetmeyer, Shea Hope, people who want the ball generally to be on the ground, playing it through the field. And those players do have their place. The best ones to have their place in T20s, Baba Azam, Kane Williamson. But for T20s, I don't know if it's working for him. Forget Holder batting. He's much better bowler than Rampal, 100%. I never understood the Rampal. We spoke about it, actually, Sammy. I never understood the Rampal selection in the first place. It seemed like we're just going backwards, and he didn't do anything to dispel the myth. And yeah, he has to be done again. We should have been done already, but he has to be done again. Krishna says, I fear West Indies cricket is falling. West Indian talent like Jofra Archer is playing for England. Jofra Archer, of course, we know about Chris Jordan and how he left, and he was actually very influential in getting Jofra Archer to play for England. There is another. Is there another West Indian playing in county cricket at the moment and playing for England? I could be wrong though. I feel like there's another one. And obviously, Tymal Mills has Caribbean descent, but it's not him. There is someone else. But the infrastructure around West Indies cricket, the domestic game, the finances afforded to the players, etc., it's not enticing our best talent to stay within the structures of West Indies cricket and develop for cricket as cricketers for West Indies. Yeah, they will either one go to other countries, like in the case of Jofra Archer, Chris Jordan, and develop over here, which you can't blame them per se on an individual level. I don't like it in terms of on a national level. Or they're going to focus on playing franchise cricket where they can earn the most money and a good living. Whereas you got other nations who, yes, of course, they play franchise cricket as well. But if they didn't play franchise cricket, they're well remunerated by their national boards to focus on the international cricket. And we don't have that. Jay Sharma says, this is a tough transition period for West Indies. We, India, went through after Dravid, Sachin, and VVS left. And those are some absolute legends of the game. But India's been churning them out, man. Yeah, you went through that period. This period we've been going through. And of course, yes, this is a transition in terms of T20 cricket. But West Indies cricket as a whole, we're talking about 25 years where we've just been on a lull. At no point have we, India, even under Dravid, Sachin, and Laxman, they were never considered the best team in the world. Australia were always there, but they were always up there competitive, top two, top three, especially in Test cricket. West Indies, neither in Test or ODI, have ever returned to those heights, even top two, top three. At best, maybe top five, at best. And in T20 cricket, we set pace and fly. We're flying. And everyone catches up. And where do we go from there? What, we want to create a short format, T10? Like, where do we go from here? We need to find a way to catch up with the rest of the world. Harry says, do you think West Indies need to focus more on building cricket academies across Ireland and bring through fresh blood rather than persisting with the old guard? And that's a great question. Great question. And it kind of takes me into talking about the Sri Lanka tour that's coming up just now. Yeah, we do. We say thank you to the old guard, 2012, 2016, great moments, great memories, which will never be forgotten. If Carlos Brathwaite never does anything ever for the rest of his life, everyone will remember his name for that moment. And many moments within that tournament and the previous winning tournament in 2012. But we have to move on. We have to move on. We have to focus on, as you said, building cricket academies and just improving the domestic cricket overall, making sure to focus on. And Jimmy Adams, I think he's the head. What's he the head of? I think of like the regional cricket in the Caribbean. He's spoken about the importance of making, because it's been off for nearly 2 years now because of COVID. Getting that back going, I think February next year. And really just, I'm not going to say stuff that make us a force again. Make us consistently competitive within the international arena. I don't expect us to win every tournament, but I also don't expect us to be getting bowled out for 55. I really don't. I expect us to beat the likes of the Bangladesh and Sri Lanka, Afghanistan. And I expect us to be competitive against the likes of New Zealand, South Africa. And I get that Australia and England and India with their finances are generally always going to be up there. But competitive with New Zealand, Pakistan, and South Africa, that should be the bare minimum. And granted, yeah, we had a test series against Pakistan the other day. We drew it 1-1, I believe. Was it 1-1? Yeah, we drew 1-1. But then the ODI series, not the ODI, was it the T20s? I think we played T20 against Pakistan. We lost one of them anyway because the rest got rained out. We played South Africa before that, got absolutely battered. Then we played Australia in between, we beat them. obviously a little bit weakened side. But it's like we're just so up and down. There's no consistency. I can't know when these players take the pitch, take the field, what team are we going to see? What performance level are we going to see? And that's all I ask for: consistent competitiveness. When we lose looking like you could have won, and when you win with some confidence that doesn't feel like we got lucky there. No, when you're good, be good. When you're good, be good. When we win, we're still not really good. We're really not. And if we are, it's one game, and it goes back to normal after. We do need to focus on that, and we need to focus on bringing through those younger players. And we're seeing we always got the talent. Always got the talent. It's taking that talent from that like under 19 level. It's like, that's just that age there, under 19 level. How do we make them into senior cricketers? And we've been missing that mark for way too long now. Way too long. We're going to finish up on the World 2020 at the moment. Chat about Sri Lanka. Ram says, big yourself. Ram said New Zealand overachieved this tournament. New Zealand overachieved in most tournaments, to be fair, considering their resources, considering the size of their country, the fact that cricket isn't the national sport, of course, rugby is. New Zealand are like perennial dark horses. You don't think they're going to win it, but they'll go deep, get to a semis. Now, again, they don't go into tournament as favourites, but to get to the World Cup final, the ODI World Cup final, losing the manner they did, to win the World Test Championship, and to lose in the final again, which I expected them to, because they seem to just, especially when it comes to Australia, they do seem to struggle to. Australia have a hoodoo over them, basically. Even if they are considered to be the better side at that moment, Australia have something over New Zealand which they just can't shake. But New Zealand is a team that I admire. They don't always have the best in it. Like if you were to pick a world 11, how many of those players in T20 get into your team? Maybe one. Maybe one in Trent Bolt. Well, I wasn't maybe one. Trent Bolt gets in. Yet they're always going deep. They're always going deep because they have a plan. They know their strengths. They stick to their strengths and they stick to their plan. We have a plan, but when it don't work, what next? What next? We're not flexible in the way that we play, and we have a plan that was a plan 4 years ago. That was a plan. I say 5 years ago. That was a plan. What? 9 years ago. Why is there no adjustment in it as T20 moves on? Why are we not adjusting with the game? We're getting left behind. The cricket world has come and seen us, taken from us in terms of, all right, this is the way we're going to, for example, set big totals or chase down totals. But then they've gone past us. England were never a big hitting nation, but they realized we couldn't play the same way we were playing in the 90s and 2000s. We got to go big, and they developed big hitting cricketers and game plans in limited over that they trusted in, and the players believed and trusted in, and ultimately executed, which allowed them to rise to #1 in the world in both formats. We have a plan from nearly a decade ago, and we're not moving forward with it. How many dot balls do we always talk about? The dot ball percentage. And we just stand there trying to hit 4s and 6s and getting bowled out for 55. Come on, man. This is the, let me bring this, see this. So this is the T20 team of the tournament. This is actually the official one, if you're wondering. Bear with me. Actually, you can't see the 12th man. So let me know you lot's thoughts on that. We've got David Warner, Josh Butler, Baba Azam, Asalanka, Markram, Moeen, Hasaranga, Zampa, Hazelwood, Bolt, Nokia, and Shaheen Afridi as the 12th man. So let me know your thoughts on that team of the tournament. Is there anyone missing that you would have? Haras Rafiq says, off topic, but thoughts on Baba and Wizran opening partnership and rank in the world for T20. It's funny you say that, because if we're talking about players potentially missing from this team, Rizwan's probably the one that jumps off the page, and you're like, he played so well. He played so well. But then do you just pack the side when you're thinking about team of the tournament with all the openers? Because of course, openers are generally going to be the highest run scorers, opening innings, facing the most balls. Or do you say, all right, granted, we've got Warner, who came to the party in the last couple games of the group, and then the semi-finals and finals, so I think he deserves to be in. Butler, who was consistently good throughout, got a bit bogged down in the semis, to be fair, but he was England's only hope. And Baba Azam, of course, opens, but you can't not. I think he was the highest run scorer in the tournament. You can't not have him, the best batsman in the world in this format right now. So, do you bring in Rizwan? And if so, where do you play him? He's already an opener in actuality. Where do you put him and who do you take out? My only issue with this is the fact there's two Sri Lankans, Asalanka and Hasaranga. And Sri Lanka, yeah, they won 2 games, and in the Super 12s, that is. But I think this team seems to be more, or they put a bit too much weight on their performances in the qualifiers, and effectively, therefore, penalised players who didn't have to qualify. Because Asalanka and Hasaranga, for me, yeah, they played more games, they've got more runs and more wickets than others, but they were playing Scotland and Namibia and Netherlands and Papua New Guinea and whoever else was in those groups. So, yeah, they played well and they batted well and bowled well, but I feel like one of those positions could have been taken by someone. I'm not sure who, off the top of my head, but somebody. Moeen's there, which I think is correct. Markram, fair enough. I think Markram was all right. Zampa, he got a 5-4 in, was it the semis? I think it might have been the semis. He got a 5-4. Hazelwood, Bolt, Nokia, and Afridi. The Afridi one surprised me. I think he got 9 wickets in the tournament, I think. And I possibly would have put him in there over Nokia. He was electric. The last over he ball in the tournament was, in the end, a decisive over. Poor bowling, and I think it was Matthew Wade took him apart. Was it Matthew Wade? I think it was Matthew Wade. Forgive me if I'm wrong. Now I need to check. Australia versus Pakistan. Yeah, Matthew Wade. Matthew Wade took him apart in what was the last over of the match, the 19th over. Yeah, I got it in front of me. 19th over. What did they need? 22 from the last 2 overs. Dot ball, leg by, wide. 2 was dropped. Hassan Ali, not his fault. Like Shane Freedy's fault. But then bang, bang, bang. 3 sixes in a row. Like it went when it mattered the most, he couldn't find his Yorkers. Same thing happened to Chris Jordan. He's generally been playing well, bowling well, but when it mattered the most, missed his line, missed his lebs more than the line. And ultimately, yeah, Pakistan went out. Sammy says, need Sammy, Darren Sammy, that is, on commentary for the Sri Lanka series. As I think you said to me, or did you? Maybe, yeah, you must have maybe replied to me on Twitter. Sammy is the most optimistic West Indies fan I've ever heard. Who are we playing? Sri Lanka. I think it was Sri Lanka. And we're chasing the total, and it was like, it was out of reach. And Holder hit a 6. And he goes, West Indies are not out of this yet. I'm like, my brother. Next ball, Holder gone. I'm like, my brother, that's it. There was nothing left anyway. We were never going to come back at that moment. Like, it wasn't happening. But Darren and Sammy in it. Optimistic. But that's the team of the tournament anyway. Just before we move on, so the next, let me take this graphic off. How do I take it off? How do I take it off? Bear with me. No, we don't want that. I don't take my name off this thing. No worries. Didn't said he's like a girl. True. But this is the next the dates for the next ICC tournaments from 2024 to 2031. So the next tournament is being hosted by West Indies and the USA. Well, the next tournament, to be fair, sorry, to be correct. Australia's holding the next T20, which is next year. And I need to mention something about Pollard in regards to that. And India are holding the 2023 50-over World Cup, ODI World Cup. The 2024 2020 World Cup's being hosted by West Indies and USA. Pakistan will be hosting the 2025 Men ICC Champions Trophy, which is good for Pakistan cricket and the country as a whole. 2026, another T20 World Cup, India being hosted by India and Sri Lanka. Then the 50-over World Cup in 2027, South Africa, Zimbabwe, and Namibia. 2028, Australia and New Zealand, T20 World Cup. 2029, India will be hosting the Champions Trophy. 2030, England, Ireland, and Scotland hosting the 2020 World Cup. And, well, this was supposed to be Bangladesh, but I think due to infrastructure things, I think it's now been India and Bangladesh for the 2031 Men's World Cup. I'm not going to lie, that's all well and good, but I think that's a lot of cricket. Every year, for there to be an international tournament every year, I think is a lot. I don't know what you lot feel, but I feel like, and yes, it's 50 overs, 150 overs, 120. Well, two of them 50 overs and one's 2020. The World Cup's a bit bigger, the Champions Trophy is smaller. To have one every year, and a lot of it's going to be the same players playing against each other, I don't know. I feel like it's good that we have it being hosted. So we got hosted by West Indies and USA, Namibia, Zimbabwe is going to be hosting, Pakistan, Ireland and Scotland, Bangladesh. It's all good. That's very good. But an international tournament every year seems like a little bit too much for me. I'm not going to lie, a little bit too much for me. But we'll have to see how it goes. Because now we got a T21 back-to-back, obviously because this one was delayed. Now, I don't know. I would say, do we need to host the T20 World Cup every 4 years? They're not going to do that because T20 is such a money spinner. So I get that. Fair enough. Yeah, we got the Test Championship every 2 years, which is fine because Test cricket is played non-stop anyway. Like, it's always been like that. No. ODI World Cup, Sammy's the next one's in 2023, but that's already been planned. So these are new dates, 2023 in India. So the ODI World Cup every 4 years, the ICC Champions Trophy every 4 years, I believe. Champions Trophy 25 and Champions Trophy 29. Yeah, and the T20 World Cup every 2 years. Yeah, so yeah, I think it's a lot. And you know what I probably want to happen more than anything is to get rid of the Champions Trophy. I think it's unnecessary. You've got the 50-over World Cup, you've got the T20 World Cup. The 50-over World Cup every 4 years, T20 World Cup every 2 years. Why do you need another 50-over tournament, but you just get rid of, so it's only the top 8 sides? Why? Because in the World Cup, if you are the top 8 sides, if you are the best sides, then you become the top 8. So you end up in the quarterfinals or the semi-finals, whatever. Why do you need another tournament that excludes the lesser members to win a trophy which is less than the World Cup? The World Cup is a much more prestigious trophy than the Champions Trophy. It's for me that's the one for me that needs to go. because remember, we didn't used to have the T20 World Cup. We had 50 over World Cup and Champions Trophy. But now we've got the T20 World Cup. Get rid of the Champions Trophy. I don't think it's necessary. Jay Sharma says, someone turned off my heating. What the hell, man? I'm getting chilly. It's a lot of cricket, but it's the way it's going. You always have to remember the World Cup. Oh, yeah, World Test Championship every 2 years. Junior Hussein says, have you heard of Courtney Walsh, or are you too young, Neeks? He was one of my favorites. I'm 30 years old, my brother. Of course I know Courtney Walsh. Courtney Walsh, when he was playing, no, actually, that's not even. He is my favorite bowler of all time, Courtney Walsh. He is the best that I've seen. Like, I love Curly Ambrose, but Courtney Walsh was my guy. Courtney Walsh was my guy. Fast bowler, or he was express, but fast bowler, put it on a sixpence, nibbling the ball away. He had this leg cutter that used to cut. I remember he cut Hussein up one time with the leg cutter that came back in. He had this slower ball, that looked like it was going to be a beamer, so it would loop high, and the batsman would kind of flinch, thinking the ball's going to hit him, and it drops in front of them. LBW. I think he got Graham Thorpe like that a couple of times. Like, he is, yeah. Courtney Walsh was and then when he retired, I was so. Ajax season. I do know who you are. Like, what's wrong with you, man? What's wrong with you? I don't need no simps. Yeah, he retired 519 test wickets. First fast bowler to break the 500 mark. For me, the best. And I was kind of gutted that Curly Ambrose retired before him, because I felt they should have gone at the same time. Like, they were the iconic duo, the fast bowling duo. But yeah, Courtney Walsh, I love that guy, man. I'm trying to think, I met Curly Ambrose at the World Cup down, where were we, in Nottingham. I didn't meet Courtney Walsh. I met Clive Lloyd and Viv Richards as well. Andrea says, I've seen people say that the finance of the big three is the reason why we can't compete with the big three. However, New Zealand can compete with them, even though they're not as wealthy as the big three. Yeah, no, we got no reason not to compete. Like, yes, we're yes, we're going to be at a disadvantage. I get that. Camera, go out of focus. But we're going to be at a disadvantage. Yeah, we have to go above and beyond. But that's not a reason not to compete, because we've got the talent. We've got the talent. Ian Bishop would have been one of the great West Indians. Yeah. I didn't see the peak Ian Bishop. I only saw the Ian Bishop when he had already had a back injury, which is a bad shame. And even then, like, he wasn't terrible. He was still pretty good, but you could see, like, he had to change his action. When did he start playing for West Indies? He made his debut in 1989, and his last test was in 1998. So his last test was when I was 7. When did he actually? Let me just double. When did he have his back injury? He said he reached 100 wickets to the powerful fast bowler. Severe back injuries cut him down in 1991 when I was born. So yeah. Says, however, he came back strongly in 92. However, in 1993, he was struck by injuries again and not returned until mid-1995. Yeah, so I was 4 years old, 5 years old when I'm seeing 6 years old when I'm seeing Ian Bishop. He wasn't the same guy. This is a cricket stream, by the way. Jack Hallis, a South African cricketer, is also one of my favorites. Love cricket, but I've been out of the loop recently. I like Jack Hallis. I respect him as a great player. One of the greatest of all-rounders of all time. But it's boring. Oh, he was so boring. Boring batsman. I wouldn't enjoy watching him. I respect him, but I didn't enjoy watching him. Because he's a very good bowler, very economical when he wanted to be, but he also had this, like, he could go on these little 5-over bursts where he just bounce it short, rough at the batsman. But he's a quality, average comfortably over 50. Number 3 batsman, I think it was. Like, yeah, he was, and that was in a strong South Africa side. Was Herschel Gibbs, Graham Smith, Mark Boucher. There's a few others I'm missing in there. Jack Rudolph probably. What was it dipping now? De Villiers was there. Pollock, Klusner, Intini, Chinaman, left arm Chinaman bowler. What was his name? Paul Adams? Something like that, yeah. Like, nah, that was, yeah, quality team. Jimmy Adams just stat padding, but he would never be Walsh Ambrose. Yeah, Jimmy Adams, he has many wickets as you want to. You say respect because you still have to run up and bowl as a fast bowler. It's never difficult. It's never easy. But he will never, ever, ever be Walsh or Ambrose or McGrath or Pollock. Isn't it? Sorry. Joe Abraham says Callis didn't win the eye test, but he was very affected. I agree. Junior says, "I'm surprised how much you know, Neeks." Listen, I grew up on cricket. The first cricket World Cup I remember was 1999. I had the West Indies shirt, which I don't know where it is now. I was 8 years old. Mervyn Dillon at the back. My brother had one with Brian Lara at the back. Yeah, my dad used to play cricket. Every household this is a cricket family. It's a cricket family. I know my stuff, man. I know my stuff. I used to sit and watch. I don't know where you're from. I don't know if you're in England, but we got something called CFAX, teletext. And I used to put that on. And at times, it basically was just a text on the screen and the numbers are changing. No commentary, not like Cricket Info now where you get live commentary. It was just the number. And sometimes I'll sit there and just watch the numbers change. Like I am a cricket fanatic. Obviously play a bit of cricket myself as well, school and that. But yeah, I know my stuff in it. They don't call me Neeks Sports for nothing. I know my sports. Ambrose was the bowler I like watching. I watched on Sky Live England out for 46. One of the best bowling spells I've ever seen. Yeah, he was signing up because he was quick. In his prime, he was quick. Devastating. Michael Atherton was his bunny differently. Like he could not get him away. Sammy says Steyn is my guy, man. He's my all-time favorite. I like Dale Steyn. What I like the most about Dale Steyn is when Chris Gayle took him apart. Remember, Chris Gayle was injured. I can't remember what happened. He got injured, and as he was batting, and then South Africa ripping through us, and Sri Lanka, what's his name? Chanderpaul's at the other end, and he's blocking. He's giving a strike to the lower order, and we're all sitting there. I'm thinking, what's Chanderpaul? You're supposed to be farming the strike. You know, it's just a block. You take a single off the last 2 balls of the over, whatever, and farm the strike. But he kept giving a strike to the tail enders, the likes of Darren Powell, etc. And he's there, they're hitting out, trying to get a couple of fours or whatever boundaries, quick runs, and then they'll get out. I'm thinking, what's Chanderpaul doing? But Chanderpaul was remaining in there for when Gayle comes back because Gayle, I think, he had a hamstring injury. And Gayle was hitting Dale Steyn to all parts. Like I think he made like a quick fire 30. And then he nearly hit him out of the attack, but it was the last wicket, and Gayle got out caught on the boundary. But I like Dale Steyn, I do. Wazimakra, my favourite bowler. I saw him many times live, some great games. I saw back then, I'm from England, UK, but my parents were born in Pakistan. It was my whole life. Played it more than football. I like Wasim Akram and Waqar Younis. Great partnership. It was reverse swinging Yorkers. Great partnership. Jay Sharma says cricket on teletext was the one. You know, my guy. You know. Neeks says, I don't know if you know our local channel TV6 here. I remember they used to show all our series before Sportsman. No, I don't really know the channels out there in the Caribbean because, like, over here, and even if we were watching cricket, let's say it was in the West Indies, it would all be broadcast on Sky. It's only Australia that we could watch it on Sky, but you knew it was Channel 9 that were providing the feed. So I knew Channel 9. I don't know Channel 6. In Trinidad. We played on the block with milk crates as wickets. Good fun. Milk crates as wickets is hard because the wicket, that's so wide. But we used to play with bins. It's like a not the bins that you see out on the road. It was the ones that you would buy from the shop, the plastic bins. Turn it upside down and play with that. So it wasn't as wide as the milk crates, but they were tall. So you had to protect your wicket. It could, like, the ball was not bouncing over the wicket. It was not bouncing. But we played in the garden, we got to the park, whatever, all different stuff like that. I hit the first half century in my garden. And then, oh, the heat's back on. What the hell is going on over there? Someone's been messing around with something. Yeah, I hit the first half century in my garden. And then my brother one-upped me. I don't know, some weeks later, hit a century. But I remember I was on 44, and I was like, I just need 6. And we had a rule that if you hit it over the fence into the next garden, then you're a 6, but you're out. So I was like, maybe not 44, I wasn't 40 something, and I needed it would have been 44, 45. I needed a 6. In one hit, I needed a 6 to go up, to go through, or to get 50. I just went, the ball came pop over the thing, 50 out. I didn't care. Got my 50. That was it. Maybe if I went on a bit longer, I might have got a century. I don't know. Prime girl could only use 10% and still go for 100 via sixes. We used to draw the wickets on the bin. But listen, yeah, let's continue back to what we were chatting about. Great chat. Sorry. So we've got a series now coming up against Sri Lanka. 6 and out was the norm. So we were supposed to have a warm-up match, which, if I'm correct, was... Oh, I lost my page because I was looking at Ian Bishop. Where's it gone? West Indies. We were supposed to have a warm-up match, which was supposed to finish today. So it's on the 14th to the 17th. But I don't think we played it. It was abandoned without a ball being bowled. And I don't know. Was it just rain? I'm not 100% sure. It may have just been rain. But that game came and went. Well, I said, yeah, it didn't even come. It just went, which is a bit of a shame. I don't know what our plans are. Let me check the West Indies. I'm going to check the West Indies page now, actually, to see if we've got any plans for another game. Because we are playing... where's the... So there's 2 matches. Both the matches are in Jamaica. Now, yeah, okay, it's all good. We're playing at home, but I would have liked... Sorry, bear with me, guys. Fixtures. Yeah, so the first test is on the 21st, so it's this Sunday. And then a week later, we got a second test. We had... What did I say, Jamaica? What am I talking about? We're playing in Jamaica. Playing in Sri Lanka, in Galle. I would like to have had a match on those wickets. We played some games at home, the best v best. While that's what I meant to say. So we were playing some games at home, the best v best against each other, which is all good. But we're supposed to be playing like a Sri Lankan 11, like a Sri Lanka board 11 or something, one of those tour games. And we haven't been able to get that. So I'm wondering how raw this team are going to be going into these matches, into this series. Granted, I don't know what Sri Lanka's team is going to be, but they themselves were actually playing the T20. I don't know how many of them play Test cricket, but we did play against ourselves. Team Blackwood versus Team Brathwaite. Of course, the captain and vice captain. In the first game, Team Blackwood made 384 for 6. With Kruma Bonner 166 not out, and Raymond Reefer with 71. And then Team Brathwaite were 281 for 4. Craig Brathwaite 78 retired hurt. Solozano, he got LBW for 2 against Roach. Brooks made 34. Shea Hope was 102 not out. Myers made 26, De Silva 5, and Cornwall 19 not out. That was the first. That was the first game. Second game, Team Blackwood made 268. Declared, was it? I don't know how many wickets. Well, Team Brathwaite batted first anyway. They made 326. Brathwaite 58 again, retired out. Solazano, the other opener, he made 74. Shea Hope retired on 71. Cal Mayers made 45 as well. And with the bowling, Seals, he got 3 for 37 off his 16. So that's a good omen going into the series for him. The next innings, Team Blackwood made 268 all out. Kieran Powell 42, Blackwood 50, or Raymond Reed for 62, and Raheem Cornwall 54. So it's a good knock for them with Azari Joseph getting 4 for 48 of his 16, and Jamel Warrican 3 for 48 of his 24. And then they both had a bit of a knock. I think a few of the batsmen who really didn't. They thought, these people needed a few more balls, a few more minutes out in the middle or whatever. So Lozano, Joshua De Silva, Cal Mayers, and Craig Brathwaite all took the wicket briefly, as well as Shane Mosley, he made 29. Hodge, he made 26. So decent little run out for those 2 games. But that was a little while ago now. That was at least 2 weeks ago. I think that was before, must have been before they flew out. So I don't know how ready everyone's going to be. Of course, we've got the squad, which is somewhere. So Craig Brathwaite, Jermaine Blackwood, Nkrumah Bonner, Roston Chase, Raheem Cornwall, Joshua De Silva, Shannon Gabriel, Jason Holder, Shea Hope, Kyle Mayers, Vera Sammy Permore, Kemar Roach, Jaden Seals, Jeremy Solazano, and Jamel Warrican. I like the squad. Of course, some of the omissions that it's obvious to see is Shamar Brooks, should I say? I think he's been decent since he's been there, but clearly they're looking to the future, which someone mentioned earlier. They're looking to the future. And I'm trying to remember who it was who said it. They asked about focusing on academies. Harris Rafiq. And I think this squad here tells me, not that the team we had before was out with was old, but it's out with the old, in with the new. There is no Hetmeyer, which is disappointing. I think he would be a good test batsman. There is no Pooran, who I feel would also be a good test batsman, but he hasn't shown a great desire to play test cricket, or just the longer format of the game in general. So this kind of is where it is. Now, I did a bit of a team that I would go for. If I can find it, let's see. Let me see. Because I did a team, and then I was like, it could actually be anything. It could actually be anything. Bear with me 1 second, because it's a question. Do you go with 2 out-and-out spinners? Do you go with Roston Chase as one of the spinners, and as well as Raheem Cornwall? That's 2 off spinners. Then you got Craig Brathwaite, who also spins the ball off break. Then you've got Jermaine Blackwood, who also spins the ball off break. When you've got Permore as an option, and you've got, I think, wait, did I see? Yeah, this year, and Warrican as an option. So these are 2 left arm spinners who offer a different, not just a different angle, but a different option and something different for the batsman to think about, as opposed to just off break, off break, off break. But of course, you want to pick your best players. And if you think that Cornwall and Chase are the best options, then you pick them, regardless of the fact that they're both off spinners. something tells me that it's going to be one of Chase or Cornwall. And I think that's right. I think that's right. If you want to give, especially for the first test, probably Warwican. He performed better in the best v best. I've definitely seen him a bit more of him anyway. He's played more for West Indies than Permore has. Maybe more in limited overs, I guess. But I would go with probably Warwican. Warwican and Cornwall. I guess you're playing in. Look, you're playing in Sri Lanka, so you're gonna have to go with 2. You can't go there with 1. Yeah, so my team, I've gone with obviously Brathwaite. But when I say my team, this is the team that I think they're gonna go with. So Brathwaite and Salazano opening. So that will be the end of Kieran Powell, I believe. And Nkrumah Bonner at 3. Oh, maybe it's not going to be this. So I've got Nkrumah Bonner at 3, Shea Hope at 4, Jermaine Blackwood at 5. I've got Myers here, but it could be Holder. But Myers hasn't really put a foot. Well, with the ball, he hasn't put a foot wrong. With the bat, he has. But they may go with Holder, to be fair. Joshua Da Silva, Cornwall, Roach, Seals, and Cornwall. Did I say Cornwall already? And Warwican, sorry. The bowlers you've got in Gabriel, Roach, and Seals. Let me see if that works. Because in Sri Lanka, you don't need to pick Gabriel, Roach, Seals, and Holder, or Myers. I think you pick 2 plus one of them. Gabriel has a tendency to break down. How effective he's going to be on the Sri Lanka pitch? Do you want to risk that? He hasn't really played that much cricket. So you take Roach out. So you take Gabriel out. Seals has been so good. So I'm very tempted to keep him. And we're looking forward. Not even tempted to keep him. Keep him. He's in. Seals is in. Roach is the leader of the attack. Seals is in. You want to see Alzari Joseph at some point make this squad. If I go with Warwican, Cornwall, Da Silva, and then really the competition is between Holder and Myers. Is that correct? So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah. So that's my team. I've got Brathwaite, Salazano. Okay, you could go with Powell, but Salazano, there's obviously something about him. Maybe they just want to take him on a tour and they don't want to start him in the first game at least. Maybe. I wouldn't be a big issue with that. You call back Powell for a reason. Wait, is Powell even in the squad? Oh, no, he's not in the squad. What am I talking about? Powell's not in the squad. So that decision's made already. No, that's that then. Yeah, so, yeah, it's Brathwaite, Salazano, Bonner at 3, Hope at 4, Blackwood, what would be Myers, possibly at 5, and Blackwood at 6, or Blackwood at 5 and Holder at 6. Joshua Da Silva at 7. You could switch those, but I want Holder to be at 6. Joshua Da Silva at 7. Cornwall at 8. Warwican 9. Seals 10. And Roach 11. I think that's good. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 top order batsmen. Holder, Da Silva, Cornwall, who are all good lower order batsmen. Myers could potentially be one place higher. And then you've got another specialist spinner in Warwican, who's a left armer, and then 2 fast bowlers. You got the 2 fast bowlers or fast medium and Holder. I think that's a good balance. Yeah, I think that's a good balance. I like that team. I might just let me store that somewhere in the Twitter sphere. Yeah, I like that team. I like that team. That's my team. That's my team. Let me see go through some of these comments. Junior says young Dolph shot. Yeah, I did see it, shot dead. I did see that. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. Sorry, I don't know who that is. Someone let me know his most famous song. Not your favorite song. His most famous song. Maybe I've heard it. I know a lot. I hear a lot of songs, and I don't always know who the artists are. I don't know many. Like when it comes to youngs, there's Young Jeezy, there's Young Money. I don't know. I don't know who he is, but anyone that's getting shot dead on the streets, it's generally something sad, and it's another young, I guess, upcoming rapper. The way I see people talking about it on social media, maybe he had a good career ahead of him. He had a whole life ahead of him, and it's gone just like that. Sammy says Holder has the ability to play as a batsman. He does, and that's why I wanted to bat at 6, because I wanted to give him the responsibility. Yes, you're not the top 5 top order batsman. You're still an all rounder, but your batting is, in terms of quality, it should be good. It's good, so it's good enough to say we can get. His average should be 30. He should be averaging 30. And if we can get a guaranteed 30 out of him every time, that's useful runs. With the Silva and Cornwall coming below, that is useful runs. And we know he can go more than that. He can get centuries. He can get double centuries. We've seen it already. Dinesh says, what are your views on Azim Rafiq racism in cricket? It's a lot. I haven't taken it all in. I'm not going to lie. It's a lot, but it's no surprise. This country is racist at its core. It's built on racism. It allows and it even encourages racism to thrive and to survive and to uphold, to be able to uphold the structure of this country. Racism has to be allowed to survive. You have to have white people on top and everyone else below. And they have to be kept in that position if the society is to thrive in the way that they want it to thrive. So I'm not surprised. And I hope that more and more people get exposed, and ultimately that there's change. Because the exposure is one thing, and even if you talk about an individual, balance, and I'm not diminishing those individual instances and the personal impact it's had on, as in Rafiq and other cricketers, but we can talk about these individuals, and they should be dealt with accordingly. But those structures that were in place that allowed these individuals to act in their way is as big a problem. No, it's a bigger problem, because you can pinpoint those individuals and say, all right, get rid of them, punish them, whatever. But if the structures remain in place, then the next person is going to come along and act in the same way as those individuals that we're just talking about, the Gary Balances, etc., and the Michael Vaughns. And then in 20 years' time, we're going to be like, oh, this happened when I was 15 in cricket, 16 in cricket, 20 in cricket. You need to hit it in its core. And cricket isn't even the core. That's the thing. You can deal with it in the industry as much as you can, but as long as it exists in society, it's going to permeate every industry. Cricket, just on the street, the normal working world. And it comes in all different shapes and sizes. Like, nobody in my office is generally going to pin me down and, I mean, I drink anyway, but say try and pour or feed me something that I don't eat. That's not going to happen. But the context of a dressing room is different to the context of an office. So things that they would say, oh, it's just banter in the dressing room, the equivalent of the banter which would be in the office is as bad as that. And they all have to be dealt with accordingly. So I'm glad that it's coming out. Not glad that it happened, of course, but we know these things happened. We know these things happen, should I say. And to this day, up and down the country, is still happening. But they can't be swept under the carpet any longer. So we just hope that justice can be served and change can come. But listen, guys, thank you very, very much for joining me. I know I've been away for a while. I do apologize for that. But yeah, I mean, it ain't been great. It ain't been a great time to be a Man United fan and a West Indies fan. But Lewis Hamilton might be making a little comeback. So all is not lost. All is not lost. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, share the stream, and I will be with you lot and see you lot very, very soon.